Hello students, welcome to this session of consumer behavior. In this series, we are going to cover an introduction to consumer behavior, importance of studying consumer behavior, factors influencing consumer buying behavior, buying decisions, and the buying decision process. But before we go and understand the concept of consumer behavior, we first need to understand two important words, consumer and behavior, which form very important part of marketing concepts. A clear understanding of consumer and behavior is required to understand appropriately the meaning of consumer behavior. Let's try to define these two words, consumer and behavior. Let's take consumer first. A consumer is a broad label for any individual or household that uses goods and services generated within the economy, whereas behavior refers to all human activities related to use of non-human resources. So we can summarize consumer behavior as the study of individuals, groups, organizations, and the processes they use to select, secure, use, and dispose products, services, experiences, or ideas to satisfy the needs and impacts that these processes have on consumer and society. The main objective of a marketing process of a company is to satisfy needs of the customer and to help in continuous increase of demand of goods. Demand of goods is basically affected by two variables, controllable and uncontrollable factors. Marketers need to be specifically careful about uncontrollable variables while making marketing programs. In fact, his success depends on the point that he should be intact with the right information about the consumer behavior and prepare the marketing program accordingly. Consumer behavior is a study of how individuals make decisions to spend their available resources, time, money, and efforts on consumption-related items. What they buy, where they buy, how they buy, from whom they buy, how often they buy, and use the products and services. The marketing effort of firm have a profound impact on buying decisions of customers. Therefore, marketers attempt to obtain an in-depth knowledge of customer buying behavior. The success or failure of any product or service is directly related to consumer buying behavior of the customers. Hence, an understanding of buying behavior of customer helps marketers come across with the innovative product mixes. Let's look at some of the definitions of consumer behavior from prominent academicians. According to Walter and Paul, consumer behavior is the process whereby individuals decide whether, what, when, where, how, and from whom to purchase goods or services. According to Kunz and Boone, consumer behavior consists of the acts of individuals obtaining and using goods and services, including the decision processes that proceed and determine these acts. And finally, according to Webster's, buyer behavior is all psychological, social, and physical behavior of potential customers as they become aware of, evaluate, purchase, consume, and tell other people about products and services. Thus, we can conclude that consumer or buyer's behavior is such a process in which efforts are made to explain how consumers make decisions to select special goods or brands in special conditions of the market in special ways. After understanding the concepts of consumer behavior, let's try looking at important underlying factors for studying consumer behavior. Consumer behavior is an important consideration when constructing a marketing plan. While profits, sales numbers, and all profit-generating departments are important, when it comes down to consumer behavior is a big part of marketing puzzle. Marketers who can figure out what makes their potential customers interested will definitely have an edge over its competitors. Now let's try to study the important underlying points which helps us to understand the importance of consumer behavior. First, fierce competition. In today's market, we have a fierce competition, may it be internationally or even at a local level. We need to understand the aspirations of our customer in order to win over our competitors. Unless we understand what our customer needs, we will not be able to win over our competitor. We will not be able to serve our customers better so that we could win this fierce battle. Second, wide knowledge of consumer behavior and changes. Any marketer cannot take it for granted that consumer behavior will remain static. The behavior of consumer changes according to his moods or requirements. So the marketer need to be vigilant to understand what reasons would change or impact the behavior of a customer. He has to make sure that he understands what his customer will like according to the variations in his mood or requirements. This will help him or her to win over his or her customers. Third, benefits of marketing opportunities. A marketer needs to understand the hidden feelings or desires of his customer. If he understands these feelings of his customers in a better way, he could package the product according to the aspirations of his customer, which will help him sell the product in a better way to his customer and satisfy his or her whims. Fourth, actions and reactions. When a marketer is able to understand the actions and reactions to that actions through the study of consumer behavior, he or she will be able to better win over his or her competitor and service his or her customers in a better way. For example, if a marketer launches a product in the market and he realizes that probably his customer is not happy with that. For example, when the product Wheel was launched in Pakistan, it was packaged in green packaging, which is the national color of Pakistan, which was not accepted by the customers there. Therefore, as a result of this action, the marketer was able to repackage its product in another color of packaging, which resulted in a positive reactions from his customer and was able to make appropriate changes in his marketing strategy. Fifth, success in marketing according to purchase decision maker. To target your audience, you need to understand who is the decision maker. For example, in a joint family, the head of the family could be one of the decision maker. Husband-wife could jointly make a decision. In a big organization, maybe the purchase manager makes a decision, or in a small organization, probably the owner himself makes a decision. So you need to understand the decision makers' whims and attitudes in order to properly target the audience so that you would properly package, price the product to your end user. Next, sixth point, assist in marketing planning. The marketer needs to plan the objectives, goals, policies, programs, strategies, budgets according to the requirements of the market. Once he or she can understand the consumer buying behavior, he could accordingly frame the policies and do the planning. Seventh, help in marketing forecasts. The study of consumer behavior is essential and important because it helps the marketer to forecast the needs and requirements of the customer. According to the needs and requirements of the customer, he could accordingly plan his production, his pricing, his delivery, packaging and all. The study of consumer behavior is essential and important because it helps in marketing forecasts, because the basis of product planning is forecast of marketing. So, time of purchase by consumers, objectives, case or credit can be used for marketing forecast. Thus, the marketer can not only easily forecast the consumer behavior by understanding the related factors but also knows the actions and reactions about their marketing strategies. Eighth, marketing difference. In today's consumer market, there are several different markets like consumer market, government market, resale market, international market, producer market. Each of the market have its own characteristics and requirements. To understand these markets properly, the marketer needs to understand the behavior of these markets so that accordingly he could plan his strategies as per the market and the requirement of that individual market to suit the requirements of the customers. Helpful in product planning, development and diversification. The study of consumer behavior is essential for product planning development, like the determination of product size, shape, color, design, quality, size, novelty is required to be understood to serve the customer in a better way. For example, the beauty soap requirements of a male customer and a female customer could be different. A male customer could prefer blue color of soap, while a female customer may prefer pink color of soap. Now coming to the next point, facility in determination of product distribution policies and middlemen. By study of consumer behavior, we need to understand how our customer wants the product to be delivered to him. He or she may prefer to buy and get the delivery of product from home, maybe through internet, or maybe he or she may prefer to go to a convenience store to buy the product off the shelf, looking at different varieties and sizes or quality of the product. Or for some other products like cigarettes or gutkhas or other products, maybe consumer would like to buy from any small convenience store or any small store around the corner. So a marketer needs to understand the requirements of his or her customer, how they would prefer the product to be delivered and displayed to him. Next, determination of product price and pricing policies. The consumer buying behavior is helpful in pricing of products and policy formulation because some customers predict the quality of the product or service as good or bad only by their price, while other consumers buy product or service only because there is some discount, for example, off-season discount. So to understand their behavior, we need to understand what pricing strategy could tick them, and we could accordingly frame our own pricing policy to service to our end users. Lastly, helpful in determination of concerns, promotional policies and mix. The study of buying behavior of consumer tells that who, when, where and how the good is being bought and who is helping the buying decision. All these points affect the promotional and publicity program and also gives guidelines. Therefore, by keeping in mind the different buyer groups, different promotion policies, schemes, advertising campaigns, publicity and public relation decisions can be made. After we understand the importance of consumer behavior, let's look into the factors that influence consumer behavior. Consumer buying behavior is affected by various factors that determine the product and brand preferences of consumers. It is essential for the marketer to understand the impact of these factors on consumer buying behavior because it helps them design marketing strategies to appeal consumer preferences. The factors that influence consumer behavior could be broadly divided into 4 categories. First, cultural factors. Second, social factors. Third, personal factors. And finally, the psychological factors. Now let's look at each of these factors individually. First, cultural factors. The cultural factors that influence consumer buying behavior include culture, subculture, and social class of a buyer. Let's evaluate these subcategories individually. Culture. Culture is considered as a set of rules, values, beliefs, behavior, and concepts that is common to and binds together the members of a society. It is usually passed on from one generation to another. During our lives, there is constant, conscious or unconscious, pressure on us to display certain type of behavior. Perceptions, wants, and behavior learned by an individual influence his buying behavior. Our culture impacts what we eat, what we wear, the code of conduct, our buying habits, consumption patterns, and the way we use and dispose products. Thus, an individual's buying pattern is largely influenced by his culture. Second, subculture. Every culture has its own set of subcultures. A subculture is a culture followed by a group of people within a culture that is distinctly identified within a large society. These groups have similar habits, behavior patterns, shared value systems, buying behavior on the basis of their age, religion, sex, common experiences, even geographical locations. To tackle the problems created by subculture differences, marketers need to understand the requirements of subcultural groups and adopt strategies like altering the products, promotion, packaging, and price suitable to these groups. For example, A marketer who's marketing his product in Andhra Pradesh has to air his commercials in Telugu language to reach vast majority of people in the state. So the subculture plays an important role in marketers' strategy to understand the consumer buying behavior. After subculture, we come to the social classes. Social class refer to the classification of members of society into hierarchy of distinct classes so that every individual in a class has approximately same position in the society. Social class can be further divided into upper class, upper middle class, and lower class. Upper class. This class consists of people who are rich and possess considerable wealth. For example, people with large businesses and wealthy corporate executives. These people tend to buy expensive products and patronize branded exclusive products. Upper middle class. This class consists of well-educated people holding top-class positions in middle-sized firms or professionals who are successful. They have strong drive for success and indulge in shopping of goods that speak for their social status. Middle class. This class consists of white-collar workers like middle-level and junior executives, salespeople, academicians, small business owners, etc. These type of people live conservative style of lifestyle and spend money moderately. Lower class. This class consists of blue-collar workers like factory workers, laborers, semi-skilled and unskilled laborers that are in unorganized sector. These people are more family-oriented and depend on their family for economic and emotional supports. Their families are usually male-dominated. These people are less or poorly educated, live in smaller houses in less desirable neighborhoods. Due to their low income levels, these people tend to live in present and have no concept of savings. Every social class prefers to buy distinct product and exhibit brand preferences in categories like clothes, home appliances, furnishings, leisure activities, etc. Therefore, marketers tailor their product offerings for different social classes. For example, marketer of designer products would target the upper or upper middle class. After cultural factors, let's have a look at the social factors. Family, friends, formal social groups, colleagues at work, and consumer action groups influence the consumer's buying behavior significantly. An individual's family greatly influences the buying pattern of the individual. However, this depends on the amount of interaction he has with his family members. Subsequently, friends are the next important social group that influence the buying behavior of the individual. A friendship group is an informal and unstructured group. The influence of this group is significant on individual buying process because things that are not normally discussed with the family members are discussed with friends. Suggestions offered by friends on such aspects influence an individual's buying behavior. After the social factors, we move to the personal factors. There are different personal factors which affect the buying decision process. These factors are need, age, sex, lifestyle, life cycle stage, occupation, attitudes, aspirations, attainments, economic conditions, personality, etc. are unique to every individual. And finally, we come to the psychological factors. Psychological factors explain why an individual behaves in a particular manner. These factors are directly related to the physique of a person, and every person has his own psychological framework. As a result, every individual reacts differently in the same situation. Similarly, every consumer reacts differently to the marketing mix of a firm. These psychological factors are foundations of consumer behavior, which are very meaningful to every marketing company. Psychological factors like motivation, perception, attitude, learning, etc. influence consumers' buying behavior. So these are a couple of factors which influence the buying behavior of an individual.